So for my final paper and a video presentation, I wrote about the Inuit indigenous group of people who are a group of Eskimos that inhabit the Arctic areas of Canada, Iceland, Greenland, and Alaska. Today, the current population is roughly around 10,000 people. Um, the Inuit are a group of hunter-gatherers that are really unique because they live, again, in the Arctic, which is among the harshest environmental conditions in the world, which is constantly forcing them to have to adapt to everyday challenges. And these challenges include environmental challenges such as global warming, social challenges, and colonization. So, such as Western ideologies or what they call Southern ideologies, trying to penetrate their traditional ways of life. The Inuit, for example, really value their traditional practices and ways of life very much. A huge ritual for them is a successful hunt. Um, because they not only value the food and health that animals provide for the people, but they really value the process because they really believe that the animal is providing them with a lot of really useful resources. So they want to pay the animal proper tribute by using every part of it, using its skin, using its bones, and using its meat, so that the animal can feel satisfaction in knowing that its spirit can rest properly and that it served a full purpose, full life, and has helped out the Inuit people so that its spirit can be released and be happy. So in a successful hunt, women are usually the ones who attract animals, and then the men successfully kill the animal, and then the women prepare the animal properly to be utilized in a variety of ways. Um, then the Inuit, yeah, they pay tribute to the animal for what it has given to the people. And what's really important to note here is that both men and women play an equally pivotal role in a successful hunt. And this ties into the Inuit views on gender and social structure. Because I guess you would think that typically, especially in a Western society, that men and women have their set roles in society, and that, of course, women would usually prepare the animal and attract it because it's more of a mother, and animals are drawn to that. And then, of course, the men would be the ones to actually kill the animal because it's heavy duty work and it's not something that a woman can handle. But where the Inuit are really special in that they actually live in a non-gendered society, which means that both men and women are allowed to work side by side. So basically, whoever is best fit for a particular task, it can be a man or a woman, they will actually be the ones to perform that task. So since typically the women may be the ones to attract an animal or kill it or prepare it, if a man is better suited for that job, then a man is going to be the one to fulfill that role. Um, and the interdependence of men and women in Inuit society is crucial to the success of a hunt and obviously to the overall well being of the community. And this ties into colonization and the adaptability of the Inuit because colonization originally, when they first invaded, tried to overpower this way of life and this view of gender that the Inuit have. And they actually forced Inuit men and women to live separately and practice more traditional European gender roles. But since the Inuit are a super adaptable and resilient group of people, they were able to adapt and overcome these challenges. And it actually has made them stronger as a community, which you don't typically hear about. Colonization ultimately didn't completely overtake the deep rooted tradition that they hold, where men and women play an equally important role in society. But instead, the ancestors learned how to deal with this kind of oppressive dominance by another culture, and they really embraced their traditional knowledge and their traditional skills and implemented that into maintaining their traditional way of life. And they've taken these lessons and their resilient characteristics and have passed that down from generation to generation, which is pretty cool to look at because each generation is unique in the challenges that they face. So the resiliency that's kind of passed down from ancestors that was learned through colonization has made the Inuit be able to still identify with their traditional roots, but also be able to survive in a constantly changing culture. And this also ties into kind of with future generations. The Inuit youth today are also a really unique group of people because they're facing completely different challenges. Like I said before, they're facing not really invasion of Western practices and being oppressed by these ideals, but rather now they're facing the influence of Western culture. And like I said, they call this Southern ways of life, or Southern ideologies. So Inuit today have more access to these Western ideologies, and it's kind of inevitable for them to feel a little bit of influence on that and kind of want to stray away from their traditional values. But the Inuit youth today actually talk about how having their traditional education and learning these traditional skills that they do when they're growing up, that their ancestors have passed down, has actually helped them to grow as individuals and as people. And it makes them realize the importance of their heritage and the resiliency and adaptability that their ancestors took on and have passed down. Um, and now, because of that, they know how to utilize their traditional skills and use their community's view on gender in a world that's constantly changing, and as well as adapt to like the Western culture that's constantly changing as well and has such a huge influence on the rest of the world. Um, and they say that their traditional practices make it easier for them to take on these challenges and maintain their rich history because of the resiliency and all of the lessons that their ancestors have given them and have kind of sacrificed a lot for. So Inuit practices remain really rich in tradition and still live on today, and they still utilize them today because, again, not only are they adaptable due to cultural changes, but global warming is also affecting them. They're hunter-gatherers again, so making it really difficult for them to find food and resources, but embracing the skills that they're learning as well as maintaining the traditional skills that they have really helped them to survive in such a brutal change, especially in something like global warming and Western ideologies. And so, kind of maintaining the rich historical tradition and Inuit practices has kind of again showed how they remain to be some of the most adaptable indigenous groups of people in the world.